In the world of mecha animes, the name Gundam stands in a league of its own. Although the first title for the series, Mobile Suit Gundam 1979, wasn't received well initially during its launch, it would go on to spawn a legion of fans that would adore this military sci-fi space saga for generations to come. What makes the Gundam series so special is that it's the first anime in the real robot genre, a subgenre of mecha anime. The real robot genre is known to follow realistic physics and technological limitations. Being a work of fiction, it sometimes takes inspiration from unproven real-world scientific theories, but it is very much grounded in reality, unlike the old super robot. Mechas, for those of you who are uninitiated, are giant robots that are piloted by a person within them. They boast an array of weapon systems and are made of super advanced technology. Since its inception, the creators of Gundam have crafted a hyper-detailed universe, from the various factions and their relationships to the smallest parts being used in their mechas, or mobile suits as they're called around these parts. The world building is second to none in the Gundam universe, making it one of the best animes of all time, at least in our opinion. In this video, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the mobile suit that started it all, the Gundam RX-78-2. From its first appearance to its role in the anime, how it was built, its various parts and armaments, and its overall influence on pop culture, we're gonna leave no stone unturned. So if you're new to the Gundam series or a grizzled veteran with a plethora of perfect-grade Gunpla models under your belt, we welcome you to watch this video as we do a deep dive into arguably one of the most iconic mecha in not just the Gundam series, but anime as a whole. Story background. Before we talk about the RX-78-2 in more detail, we feel that you ought to know a bit about the story's setting in brief. In the distant future, humanity will begin setting up colonies in space called sides. 50 years after the creation of these sides, the inhabitants of Side 3 declare their independence from the Earth Federation, calling themselves the Principality of Zeon in the year UC-0062. UC, or Universal Century, is the chronological unit in the Gundam universe ever since mankind started its exodus from Earth. We'll be using this unit of time to be as lore accurate as possible in this video. 0062 basically means the 62nd year of the Universal Century. The story of Mobile Suit Gundam is set during what is called the 1-year war between the Earth Federation and the newly formed Principality of Zeon at the beginning of the year UC-0079. The 1-year war sees the destruction of more than half of the total human population and is considered the most devastating war in the entire franchise's history. It contributed to several important moments in the lore, and though the war lasted just 1 year, it would have deep ramifications for years to come. We'll be doing an extensive video explaining the 1-year war, as it deserves a video of its own, so we hope you'll all keep an eye out for that. First appearance and origin. When our story begins, the Earth Federation is fighting a losing battle, with about 3/4 of the Earth's territories already under the control of the Principality of Zeon. The Earth Federation is desperately trying to claw its way back into the fight. One of the ways it has been trying to do so is through its top-secret military research and development project, simply known as Operation V, with the V standing for victory, of course. It's basically a plan to develop their own mobile suits. Upon the discovery of Operation V on Side 7 by Zeon forces led by Char Aznavour, the series antagonist, the RX-78-2 is revealed for the very first time. It's brought to light that the Earth Federation has come up with a mobile suit that is far superior to its contemporaries and way ahead of its time in terms of technology. In fact, we're shown that in its maiden battle. Even with an inexperienced pilot, Amuro Ray, who was operating it for the first time, the RX-78-2 easily takes hits from the MS-06 Zaku II's primary machine gun. It effortlessly overpowers the two mass-produced Zeon mobile suits. It would go on to take part in several important battles and seal its status as a legendary Gundam. RX-78-2 Specs. Now that we have a basic idea about the universe of Gundam, let's talk about the mobile suit itself. As mentioned earlier, it was developed under Operation V by the Earth Federation. It was built along with 2 other prototypes to complement the gun tank and the gun cannon as a close-range combat mobile suit. Although some purists would say the RX-78-1 was the first mobile suit, most people agree that the RX-78-2 is the granddaddy of all Gundams, as it was the first Gundam to see proper action, as well as being the titular Gundam of the very first series. Starting with its basic specs, the RX-78-2 stands at a height of 18.5 or 60 feet total, with a max weight of 60 metric tons when fully loaded and equipped and 43.4 metric tons when empty. It is comprised of several cutting-edge technologies that contribute to it being a monster in the battle. Minovsky Ultra Compact Fusion Reactor. The RX-78-2 is powered by the Minovsky Ultra Compact Fusion Reactor. It's not only more efficient, but 1/5 the size of the Minovsky Ionesco reactor, which was equally powerful. It creates an unending power supply that helps operate everything from the Gundam's life support systems to the parts that control its joints. It has a power output of 1380 kilowatts, and it's one of the most important pieces of technology in Gundam. Core Block System. RX-78-2 was the first unit to house the lauded core block system that was developed by the Earth Federation. The core block system was originally developed as a cockpit module that transformed into the FFX-7 core fighter, which the pilot of the RX-78-2 could operate independently, especially as an escape. It is made up of two modules, the head and the torso being the first modules, and the waist and the leg being the second. The core block was attached between these two modules, and its power generator was utilized by the mobile suit. The Learning Computer. Located in the core fighter is another tech that makes the Gundam a powerhouse. The Learning Computer, or ICN, short for Inferential Navigational Control System, is a game-changing technology that makes the Gundam almost too broken. It has the ability to learn from encounters that the Gundam goes through and to rewrite its own programming, making it more efficient for future battles and scenarios. It exponentially increases Gundam's battle prowess as the mobile suit continuously learns and evolves. Luna Titanium Armor. The Gundam's armor is made out of a revolutionary new alloy called Luna Titanium. It's considerably lighter and way more durable than the metal that was being used in the mobile suits of that era. In the anime, one can easily see how it withstands the 90mm and 120mm shells fired by Zaku 2's machine guns. Throughout the series, we see the Gundam take some impressive damage and still coming out looking a lot better than it should. The new armor made the RX-78-2 nigh invincible in battle. After the 1-year war, to honor the exploits of the Gundam RX-78-2 and Amuro Ray, the alloy was renamed Gundarium. Magnetic coating. Although not present in the RX-78-2 initially, magnetic coating was a process by which the joint of a mobile suit would be coated with a special material. This material, when powered up, reduced the friction between the joints to 0%. It was claimed that there was a 30% improvement to mobility because of this. The only downside was that these Gundams could only be operated by new type pilots like Amuro Ray. Heatproof Film. Before the advent of the RX-78-2, mobile suits were seen as incapable of atmospheric re-entry. In the anime, we can see when Amuro is unable to dock with the White Base, the mobile suit career vessel, due to him trying to take down the remaining Zaku. He's forced to enter Earth's atmosphere, and unbeknownst to everyone, the Gundam is capable of doing just that thanks to a new technology called the Heatproof Film, which is stored within a heatproof film capsule. The pilot uses it to blanket the Gundam, and it acts as a shield against the friction and heat generated when entering the atmosphere, making it the first mobile suit capable of atmospheric re-entry. Other noteworthy specifications. The RX-78 is also capable of achieving speeds upwards of 160 km per hour while running, and it has a 180-degree turn rate of 1.5 seconds, which is reduced to 1.1 seconds after the magnetic coating is applied. The Gundam has 2 thrusters weighing about 24,000 kilograms and 4 additional smaller ones, each weighing close to 1,870 kilograms, as part of its propulsion system. It also comes with several points of attachment for weapons and equipment known as hardpoints as per the needs of the mission. As you can see, the RX-78-2 has arguably the best specifications that a mobile suit can have during that era. No wonder it was a menace and sparked the Earth Federation's comeback in the 1-year war. Weapons and armament. Now that you know how stacked the OG Gundam was in terms of its specs, let's talk about the firepower this revolutionary mobile suit had. The RX-78-2 comes laced with an array of advanced weaponry meant to handle all situations that it could find itself. Let's look at some of the many weapons in its arsenal that established this Gundam as the dominant mobile suit of its time. The Beam Rifle and Super Napalm Launcher Attachment. The beam rifle is one of the most devastating weapons in the RX-78-2's arsenal. In a time when most mobile suits, including the Zeon's mass-produced MS-06 Zaku 2, came equipped with machine guns that could fire 90 to 120mm shells, the Gundam's beam rifle was nothing short of a cheat code. Capable of firing up to 16 shots when fully charged and producing an output of 1.9 megawatts, its power is equivalent to that of a battleship's main beam cannon. Due to this, it was no surprise that it was capable of destroying the Zeon mobile suits with a single hit. The downside of this weapon is its limited ammo. With only 16 shots, the ammunition had to be used judiciously. It also occasionally comes fitted with a 4-tubed launcher below its barrel. This is used to fire extremely powerful napalm rounds called Super Napalm. We first see it used in the series when Amuro Ray uses it to destroy the remaining Gundam parts so that they don't fall into enemy hands. Codenamed BOWA*XBR-M7907G, this weapon revolutionized the battlefield and how mobile suits do battle. Beam Saber / Beam Javelin. Despite the beam rifle being one of its most iconic and powerful weapons, the Gundam RX-78-2 is a mobile suit aimed at being highly effective in close-range combat. To this end, the weapon that it uses in such scenarios to give it the edge over the other mobile suits would be the Beam Sabers. The RX-78-2 comes equipped with 2 of these swords, which it stores in its backpack, which also doubles as the weapon's recharging unit. The sabers look very similar to a Jedi's lightsaber, the immediate difference being the size. The Saber emits high-energy particles at 0.38 megawatts, which are contained in a blade-shaped field. The blades emit energy particles that are capable of breaking matter down at a molecular level. This makes it capable of cutting through most metals and armor unless they're coated with some sort of anti-beam coating. These sabers have the added functionality of being able to be converted into spears or javelins. The hilt will extend out and transform into a pole with 3 beams in the shape of prong at its head, and in this form it can be used for close combat or thrown at the enemy like a trident. When the saber is not being used, the energy capacitors that it uses to produce its energy blades are recharged by the mobile suit reactor. The beam saber is a super cool weapon visually and is as devastating as it is beautiful. Shield. While not the most glamorous or awe-inspiring weapon, there is a reason the shield has been used throughout mankind's history of warfare. This still seems to be the case in this era. Gundam RX-78-2 comes equipped with a large shield, which it uses for various purposes. Although it outwardly appears as a mere shield, the engineering behind it is as complex as any of the other components of the Gundam. Codenamed RX-MSH008/S01025, it consisted of a 3-part honeycomb structure, which made it extremely durable. Additionally, it's made of a high-density ceramic material that is placed in between the aramid fibers that make up its inner layer and the outer layer, which is made up of Luna titanium like the rest of the Gundam's armor. It is able to deflect and absorb most physical and beam attacks. Though it's not very effective, the shield can also be used as a throwing weapon. In the series, Amuro Ray uses it as a distraction, using the size of the shield to keep the enemy guessing about his next move, acting like he's charging the enemy but attacking through the shield. It also seems to be coated with some sort of heat-proof material. It can be seen being used to shield the Gundam during re-entry into the atmosphere. The shield weighs close to 10 tons and can be held or mounted to the mobile suit's forearm. It can also be stored behind the backpack. It has a hardpoint in terms of where the Gundam can store its beam rifle. The shield therefore not only provides safety and defense to the Gundam, but also has many utility functions. Gundam Hammer / Hyper Hammer. The Gundam Hammer is not truly a hammer, but a large spiked metal ball attached to a chain. It's more akin to a flail used in medieval warfare. It gives the Gundam another option besides its beam sabers if it wishes to conserve its energy or if the beam sabers are recharging. It can be seen swatting away the rockets fired at it by the Zaku mobile suits easily, even causing them irreparable damage with a single hit. The weapon is further upgraded later in the series with thrusters that allow it to change directions mid-swing along with increasing its velocity. This allows it to not only fool enemy pilots about the directions of attack, but also significantly increase the hammer's damage. The spikes on the ball were also upgraded to be much sharper. This upgraded version is called the Hyper Hammer. It's said that the show's director, Yoshiyuki Tomino, only added the Gundam Hammer to appease the sponsors, who wanted to add more super robot aspects in order to sell their merchandise. Therefore, it only seems natural that the hammer hardly makes any appearances in the original 1979 series. Hyper Bazooka. The RX-78-2 also came equipped with a 380mm bazooka. It was meant to destroy large targets from a distance and was primarily a heavy armament for long-distance fights. The weapon codenamed BLASH-XHB-L03/NSTD was cited as a direct response to the bazookas carried by the Zakus. The weapon can be used to destroy multiple targets at once as it has a large area of effect. The Gundam can be equipped with 2 of these weapons if the need arises. Despite its destructive capabilities, the weapon has a few drawbacks. It has a very slow rate of fire, which means that it's more effective against slow-moving targets such as structures and battleships. The bazooka also has very limited ammunition, as it comes preloaded with a round in its chamber upon launch and only 5 more rounds in its magazine, which means targets have to be selected carefully. Vulcan Guns. The Gundam has a pair of 60mm fire-linked Vulcan guns that are placed on either side of its head. It has enough armaments to deal with both long-distance and melee combat scenarios. The Vulcan guns were, therefore, its answer to mid-range threats, although they could be used in close combat as well. In close combat, it is very much capable of transforming a Zaku 2 into Swiss cheese. Each gun came loaded with 400 rounds of ammunition and had a firing rate of 1,600 bullets per minute, primarily used to destroy light armor vehicles and projectiles. Important battles and feats of strength. The Gundam RX-78-2 would go on to dominate several battlefields during the One-Year War. It would show off its strength, durability, and destructiveness against many foes. We've already discussed many of the ways in which it was dominant. These are some of the important battles and feats of strength that the Gundam showed throughout the war. It fought and destroyed the mobile armor MA-08 Big Zam, operated by Dozle Zabi, commander of the Principality of Zeon's Space Attack Force during the Battle of Solomon. It played a pivotal role in the victory of the Earth Federation, which resulted in the death of Dozle Zabi, the capture of Solomon, an important asteroid fortress. It would also be part of Operation Odessa and the Battle of Jaburo, both of which were pivotal moments in the war. Following their defeat in these two battles, the Zeon forces would withdraw from the Earth. Its final feat of strength would be defeating Char Aznable in his prototype MSN-02 Zeong in the final battle of the war, the Battle of Abawaku. Abawaku was the largest and most powerful space fortress built. It was the last line of defense for the forces of Zeon. In this battle, the two mobile suits and their pilots would engage in a fierce duel, which would lead to both suits being destroyed. Not before the RX-78-2, with its final gasp, fired one last shot, destroying the Zeon. Marvelous verdict! RX-78-2, the mobile suit aptly named the White Devil by its foes, is, in every metric, an iconic mech. It not only launched and carried a much beloved global franchise during its early days, but it still continues to do so even today. It sold millions of toys, and more merchandise than that, and it's the most recognizable robot in all of anime. There have been many mobile suits after the RX-78-2, but none have come even close to replicating its impact. The anime it belongs to not only launched a new subgenre, but it also made it so popular that now, when you mention the mech genre, people treat it as synonymous with the real robot genre that it pioneered. From featuring on special edition Pepsi bottles, Japan's official 20th Century stamp series, and battling Mechagodzilla in Steven Spielberg's film Ready Player One, this mobile suit has transcended genres and mediums to establish itself as a true pop culture icon.